Fire Emblem, a franchise that not a lot of people knew about a decade or so ago, but certainly is getting a lot of love nowadays. With how good these games are, and maybe the inclusion of a fighter in Smash Bros. Or 7, Fire Emblem is well known to a lot of people, and has gained numerous amount of fans. It wasn't until the Switch era where a lot of people really got to play a Fire Emblem game for the first time, without paying an exuberant amount of money or playing it on the 3DS. And while Fire Emblem Engage is set to come out soon, probably maybe out now by the time this video comes out, and while people love the Fire Emblem Warriors games, or don't, a lot of people's introduction to Fire Emblem was the first game in the series on the Switch, Fire Emblem Three Houses. Yeah, remember the game that came out around 2019, where your main character becomes a teacher and not only commands a class of fighting teenagers, but teaches them how to battle as well. For many people, including myself, this was their first real dive into the Fire Emblem franchise. First impression of what a Fire Emblem game would entail, and what to expect. And it did pretty well in the series, selling over 3 million copies, which for Fire Emblem is a pretty big deal. And with Engage coming out soon, I wanted to take a look back at Fire Emblem Three Houses and see if it's still a good introduction to the series. Well, time to get schooled as we take a look at Fire Emblem Three Houses. Just some notes before we go. I'm not going to be spoiling anything too heavy with the story, as I really think people should experience it for themselves, and a lot of the gameplay will be from the early game, just to make sure things aren't spoiled too much. The game takes place in the world of Fodlan, a continent divided by 3 kingdoms. You meet the 3 future leaders of these kingdoms very quickly, and it's not too long before you find yourself as the new teacher of the Garreg Monastery, the church that connects all 3 of the lands. And yes, you got the job with little to no teaching experience. It's hard to find a teacher in the land of Fodlan. Just like in real life! Here is where you choose one of the 3 houses. Title drop. The Blue Lions, led by Dimitri, the Black Eagles, led by Edelgard, and the Golden Deer, led by Claude. This is not only one of the most important decisions in the game, it's also the hardest. I remember spending a decent amount of time picking the house I would choose, going through all the characters and truly debating which house would be perfect for me. For my first playthrough, I eventually chose the Blue Lions, and to be honest, their house is the one I say to choose if you're first starting out. A lot of characters are great. Dimitri as the house leader is interesting. The Dew is wonderful. Seriously, I love this man so much. And I really grew to love this house a lot at the end of my first playthrough. Black Eagles? Don't choose this house your first time. Trust me, just don't. Don't. As for Golden Deer, I think I know someone who has more experience with this house than I do. Take it away, Klaire.
Hold it right there, Mr. Rando, the bystando, YouTube/Twitch/Twitter/podcast/technically Instagram sensation. You didn't... what does every YouTuber say when they do a collab? You didn't think you were gonna talk about blank without me, were you? You don't have to put this in the video, but if you have your thing where you say YouTuber Klaire or whatever...
Klaire Fluffle from the Fluffle land of Fluffledom. Also on YouTube and Twitch. Bow wow.
Yup, that's right. Me, Klaire Fluffle, officially licensed Golden Deer stan, legally binded by... me. And I'm here to talk about why the Golden Deer are so great. They're not necessary, but they're great. You know the gallbladder? You don't need it, but things are terrible without it? That's Claude County, baby! From a story perspective, I really like Verdant Wind because it actually delves deep into the actual problems of Fodlan. Edelgard hates going to church, and spoilers, but everything else is done off-screen. Dimitri's story is much more insular and personal, only tackling the issues directly tied to Dimitri. It's honestly great stuff, but what's so nice about Claude's story is that, like I said, he actually tackles the problems of Fodlan, specifically their blatant racism, directly. It may not tie into the stories of Edelgard or Dimitri or Churchlandia, but it cares a lot more about the actual status of Fodlan and how, historically, hey, this nation is really messed up and everyone else kinda hates us. Can we just, like, not be racist for a sec, please? Key thanks. And I know Seteth and Silver Snow basically winds up being the same route until the very end, but not only is Silver Snow an absolute mess of a story, but that final bit is what helps Verdant Wind's case. I'm not going to spoil anything, but on every level, I think Claude Company tells a satisfying story. It's very messy, but that's Three Houses. What can you do? Oh, and the Golden Deer students are the best. You can't even fight me on this one. Claude and Marianne, hello, not only them, but then there's stuff like Lysithia and Leonie and Raphael, or even a Big Nuts, baby!
I agree. Golden Gear is actually a really good choice, and I chose them for getting footage for this video. While I still feel Blue Lions is your best choice for your first time playing, Golden Deer is a magnificent option too. I feel the characters are more relatable and down to earth, compared to the Blue Lions who are like, I am good at all costs, yada yada yada. And again, look at Claude. God, look at everyone. Why is everyone so attractive in this game? Regardless of what house you choose, you have a lot of students to teach and train. And you're going to be doing a lot in this game. Fire Emblem Three Houses consists of a calendar system where you teach your students each week. You help each student learn different weapons and magic in order to use their skills in battle. The battles consist of this tactical roleplay where you basically decide what units go where, and command your students to fight those around you. The cool thing is, you can fully customize and change what each character in your party does. You want Raphael to focus on gauntlets? Have him learn about it. Want to change Hilda's class? Have her take a test. I really like how you can fully customize your battalion to any class you choose, and watch them grow with each battle as they level up. And hopefully, you don't lead them to oblivion, because one false move can lead them to an extremely permanent death. Yep, once they're dead, they're dead. Yup, this isn't an RPG where your party member comes back with the Phoenix down. This is Fire Emblem, where if you lose someone, you lose them for good. Each decision matters, as it can lead to a permanent loss of a student you truly cared for. It is terrifying, but it kinda raises the stakes and makes things a lot more interesting. You feel the weighted pressure and make sure you aren't reckless with each turn, trying to your best to keep them all alive while winning the battle. And sure, you aren't totally out of luck. You are able to turn back time thanks to some magic for a limited amount of turns. And if you really want, there's a casual mode where you can just keep everyone alive no matter how many times they've actually died. But I don't know, I think it's more fun the classic way. Everybody's dead! You live by the Fire Emblem, you die by the Fire Emblem. But while the combat in Fire Emblem Three Houses is pretty fun and interesting, my favorite part is honestly the characters and their relationships and learning about them and exploring the monastery. A majority of the game you spend in the monastery, getting to know your students, having dinner with them in the dining hall, singing choirs with them, giving them advice with the advice box, training with them, fishing with them, heck, even having tea with them. Look how adorable they are with their tea. It's so cute. There's so much you can do to increase your friendship with your students, and not just the ones in your class. You can bond with all the students of each class and even convert them to your house. Dorothea, the sweet, cute opera singer from the Black Eagles, she's joining Golden Deer, baby! The really cool thing about befriending your students is that it not only helps with relationships, but makes them stronger in battle. You get some cool cutscenes too, whether they bond with you or bond with other students in the class, which, by the way, helps them fight better with each other as well. The cutscenes between each character are great, as it shows their conflicting personalities and how they work together to resolve their differences and get to know each other. Can they be a bit corny at times? Yeah, but I don't know. Seeing these characters I care about bond is just so sweet. The characters really shine in Fire Emblem Three Houses, honestly making them one of my favorite parts about the game. It's just a shame that the main character, Byleth, is less interesting than a piece of wood. And that's an insult to Plank. I know Byleth is a self-insert character where you're the character and it's not about them, blah, 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 blah. I don't know. I've seen trees more interesting than him. Even his design isn't that interesting. If you're at least gonna make a self-insert character, make him look cool. They just look like a bad clone of Marth. Say all you want about toothpaste, but the protagonist in Engage seems a lot more memorable, and the game isn't even out yet. It's not a huge problem, but in a game with a bunch of memorable and well-developed characters who grow throughout the entire adventure, Byleth kinda just sticks out like a sore thumb. Maybe this is why people weren't happy he was in Smash. Honestly, I wish the trio was. They're a lot more interesting. Even the Gatekeeper, a character with no name, is more interesting than our protagonist. Actually, he's the best character of the game. I'm not joking. I love him. So the question stands. If you want to get into Fire Emblem, is Three Houses a good starting point? Well, it's easy for me to say yes. It's the first Fire Emblem game on the Switch. So of course I'm going to recommend it compared to the others on older consoles, some of which are very expensive to play. But even if it wasn't on Switch, I still would really recommend it. The game seems very beginner friendly. It allows a bunch of different customization options. The normal difficulty isn't too crazy, but the hard and maddening mode is there for players who want a challenge. The gameplay is a lot of fun, and the characters in this game absolutely shine. It also offers the replayability of each house, depending on which one you choose. Is the game perfect? No. The maps are all kind of the same. There's some issues with the story that a lot of people may not like, and there's some other things that make other Fire Emblems technically better. I know nothing about previous Fire Emblem games. I don't have a lot to compare it to, and for a first introduction, it works, at least for me, and a whole lot of people. Again, over 3 million copies. It's my first Fire Emblem, so I may be a bit biased, but it has a special place in my heart. And it's the game that made me a fan of the franchise. If you want to educate yourself in the franchise of Fire Emblem, Three Houses is a good starting point. Now, whether or not Engage will be a better or worse starting point in the series, only time will tell. But I'm going to be playing Engage on Twitch, and I cannot wait to find out. Also, special thanks to Klaire Fluffle for joining me in this video, because she knows a little bit more about Fire Emblem than I do. Where can I find you?
Thanks so much for having me, Random. If you want to find me, you can look me up on the internet. That really narrows it down.
Are you excited about Fire Emblem, or do you have nothing to report when it comes to the franchise? Let me know in the comments below. And don't forget to hit the like button and stay tuned for more videos. Fire Emblem. I know who half the characters are in Smash now.
Greetings, Professor. Nothing to report.